You're listening to the Outright Proud podcast, LBQ Parenting Series. In this series, we'll hear about the parenting experiences of lesbian, bisexual, and queer activists from around the world, including Outright staff, LBQ Connect alumni, and Sounding Board members. This series is an opportunity to share their stories, amplify their needs, and celebrate their families. Andrea and Barbara have been together for 17 years, and now they're moms to Isabela. They're both activists from El Salvador, now based in Europe, where they co-founded the Global Independent Refugee Women Leaders. Andrea is also a member of the LBQ Connect Sounding Board. Listen to them interview each other about their experiences of being queer parents, especially as refugees living outside of their country of origin.
Hi, my name is Barbara, and I'm a Salvadorian woman now living in Europe. And I'm the mom of a 2.5-year-old baby.
Hi, I'm the other mom of our baby, Isabela, also Salvadorian. We live as refugees in Europe since 5 years ago. And I do activism on LGBTIQA issues as part of my daily job. And we have been invited by Outright to have a small conversation among us as parents of this human being to share our experience as queer parents, right?
Yes. We are very excited about this because for us, it has been quite a ride, this motherhood. I started thinking about motherhood when I was older age, maybe 18, 19, but it was not on my near future because, career, studies. And in El Salvador, you mostly have one of those. You choose a career, you choose motherhood, but also it's a very warm Latin American country. So you have a big, big network around. And we thought about it in El Salvador. It's motherhood of two moms. It's quite risky. It's not safe. It's expensive. You face a lot of threats, a lot of challenges. We were both activists. We were working on human rights, both of us. I was working with women who face violence. So we were having a very tough surrounded. And when we came to Europe, I began to think about it again, but then there was no network. So it was very challenging, but I always knew that I wanted to be the carrier of a human being on my body.
Yeah, that's very brave and nice about you, because I'm completely the contrary. To be honest, guys, I have never thought about being a parent, ever. It was not something that was in my register. I grew up very busy with sports, with friends. So I had a great life in the sense that I had a queer community around me. Then I found this beautiful human who has been in my life for the past 27 years of my life. And we have been together for 17, right? Yes, she's nodding, so it's yes. But when Barbara shared with me her will, and of course I knew before we became a couple that she was always pretty much into being a mom someday. Then when it became real, I was full of fear. Mostly because when we were in that stage, we had 13 years to be just a couple, just to be among ourselves. So I need to be very honest with you humans, because for me, the fear was, oh my God, I need to share this women love and attention with someone else. For the past 13 years, it's only me, right? And it's a very selfish thought, I think, but it's also very honest to recognize that, of course, you sort of accommodate to being just a couple, to have a grown-up's life. And we were facing also this new beginning in this new part of the world, and with such different culture from where we come. The isolation that you live as a migrant, as a refugee, is very, very deep. So my whole ecosystem was just Barbara. So when this idea came, I was like, okay, wait, we need to think this through. And finally, we talked through. And also, I think that it's very important for me to mention and to share with you that what also moves me a lot in that moment and made me take one step forward, it was the fact that things were not easy, but they were very achievable, also very affordable. To be told, we can just go to the general healthcare system. Our union was recognized here. So we were a family. In fact, a family, there was a route that you need to follow for you to have artificial support, to inseminate or so, or whatever method you will decide. But there was something written on laws and procedure that make you feel safe, Whereas when we were in El Salvador, everything was very underwater, very hidden, and it was very frightening because there were no legal certainty. And I am a lawyer by training. So, of course, having that as a background here helped me a lot into, I love these women more than anything in the world. And I am sure that she will be a great mom. I am not so sure about me, but I'm in the making. And then I was there is a path away. Let's walk it through. And then, as Barbara already shared, she was the brave one who decided to have the baby in the belly. So we start walking that path, right? Also, it was kind of amazing for us when we were sharing with our family, which mostly is back in El Salvador, so we haven't seen them for like 5 years, only through video calls. It was also a moment, when we shared with them the news, the reactions were very, very different. Some were like, oh, shoot, how did you make it? How,
Yeah.
all those like wondering eyes looking at you at some point, it wasn't that easy. But then when everything is just going, people's like having the best wishes to you, we were like trying to make everything happen. But then after 9 months of just preparation and stuff, then you go to a hospital, is that your decision? And then you come back to home, to your new place, with a human creature who 100% depend
on you,
your body, in Barbara's case, and then on your decisions and
your care.
Yeah, so that's
another step.
That is not only like I tend to hear that people say like it's super scary. Yeah, it's scary as hell, but also it's like the wonder of I can support this life to shape, but also to share and to love and to care. That's very amazing feeling that human will be with you for the rest of your life. That's amazing, hopefully for the rest of our lives. But of course it comes with things and tools, and since we want to share good things and bad things here, I can tell from my own experience what I experienced as the non-carrier parent. Two things were very difficult for me to accommodate. The first is ask the mom. Like my mom sometimes lives with us and visit us, and also brothers and sisters, and they are like, ask the mom, like go and ask Barbara, who were the one who got birth. And I was like looking at them like, I'm the mom. I am also the other mom. So I also have a decision to make here. I can decide upon if I am feeding the baby now or later, or having a nap or not. So those sort of the recognition of the society, because you are not the one who gave birth, takes a toll. Yeah. You need to be very strong. And what, guys, what I found out during those periods, and at the end of the podcast, we will talk a little bit more about the isolation that one lives as a refugee or a migrant in another country. But it wasn't only the isolation in general, that we were just Barbara and I stuck with the baby, and like sometimes being very happy and sometimes being very tired and exhausted. But it was also like I was Googling like other lesbians, non-carrier lesbian experiences. I'm looking for books. Like we are like very savvies, and we love to read. So I was like through the 9 months, I was like trying to hear or read other experiences from non-carrier lesbian mothers, and I was like, there was nothing in Spanish, of course, which is my mother tongue. And it was very few, 1 or 2 books in English that I was able to reach out, that they're very, very dated. And there are not that many support groups about this. And where we live, the community, the queer community, is very closed, because this is people here, they are not like super friendlier, and they love to be like very pride on being close. So I wasn't able to, to go to a queer bar, because I never know where the queer bar is here, but to go and talk to someone and say, this is very difficult for me. I don't know. I mean, you even wonder, is this baby gonna recognize me as their mom, or is it, or I mean, there's so many other questions, and we could create a whole podcast about that. But sharing that experience with you guys is important, because, you are not alone if you are not the non-carrier. We have a role to play. And it's a very important one, I will say, because on the other side, the body takes a humongous toll on giving birth and breastfeeding and stuff. So when we were at home, we faced a lot of things. Of course, the exhaustion and tiredness, if you have one of those babies as our is, finds sleeping very boring, and she doesn't going to sleep. Nights are endless, and you need to work on the top of it, or you need to like being a human being and eat and do whatever you need, take a shower and stuff. And not having any sort of support, it was super difficult, because we don't have our closest family here. We have a small family here, like 3 members, and that's it. But then not having friends, like just friends that will come by to the house and say, guys, you look very tired. Just go have a shower. We'll look out after the baby for 2 hours, even 2 hours at that moment.
Oh, yeah, that will have been a pressure.
Exactly. And we didn't have that.
Yeah. Indeed, it was challenging. And I think since the pregnancy and then in the first months, it was really stressful for me to hear, how is the mom? It was really annoying. And we always wanted to go back to that recognition that we both were moms, but also then with the baby, and how the baby, if the baby was in need of, because I was breastfeeding, how the baby will be in that link, in that contact all the time with the non-carrier mom. And good heads up, the baby is deeply in love with mom. But then also we are working, and the activism, the things that we do, that was also for us important to know how will we teach that to our baby in this blue-pink surrounded that we have, because life is not like that. Life is not binary. And for us, it was, and it still is, how to teach our daughter how to show that there are more families like hers, that is not just about one mom, one dad. It's not just about boys and girls, blue and pink. And that is still a struggle, because on our core, the things that we work on, the things that we read, the things that we feel in our world, we are activism of human rights. And for us, that is really, really important. And that's another level in our motherhood with our baby.
Yeah, so shout out to Aunt Kay, Tia Cheche, because this, which is a friend that we have, a part of our tribe and family, but she doesn't live where we live. She lives in another country. She was the one who, for Isabela's first birthday, she came to our house, and she gave like a full library of, non-binary books. I'm a non-binary lesbian. So of course, it is also a thing to try to explain to my daughter that I am a non-binary person. What does that mean to a 2.5 years old baby? I mean, there are a lot of questions that will come up to your mind. But Aunt Kay gave her this library of, diverse families, humans, and diversity. Diversity is around us. So that's an interest challenge, that when you have a network and when you have a queer community around you, I think it would be easier for us if we can just point out to our baby, like, there's two dads, or those are 3 humans, one is dad and 2 moms, or whoever we want to make our families work, that they exist, that they are real, that there are babies who are already non-binary by age 3 or trans by their age 3. I mean, there are so many things that we cannot find as well to how to share with our baby, because as the world is so binary, and when we look at shows at the TV, they are super binary. It's so hard to find something that will talk
sexism.
about. I mean, sexism, that's a given, But so talking about queerness is so difficult when you don't have any surrounding that is queer, but yourself. Also, it is exhausting because you are the only example to your child who or why or do we exist, or who you are, or how do you look as a lesbian or whatever. Of course, they won't understand all these big words because they are just babies, and for them you are just mom and mommy, as Isabela called us. But it is a thing that happens as well, I think, because of isolation. Also, another thing that happens, and we wanted to share with you guys, is what all this universe that we just try to narrate in a very short space of time, how everything impacts the couple, which is, as I always told Barbara, we are the pillar upon which Isabela was born in. So if we are weak, she will be weakness, or she will have a weakness on her. So we need to stay strong. But oh my God, that's so difficult. You don't have time to think about your couple. In my work, I need to travel a lot. So, of course, I will miss part of my baby's life for like 2 weeks. And then, of course, Barbara will need to take more responsibility for me to go out and be able to be in whatever places I need to travel to. But at least I think that I have that conscious about the reproductive work that Barbara is bringing to this home, and recognizing that on her, and not making it as a given. I think that so many couples, they think that this is a given, that the one who gave birth, okay, need to stay back and whatever. But just having the recognition about the fact that our partners make us able to work in what we love, in my case, give us the chance to keep doing what we need to do, it's an amazing gift as well. I think that that's very important, because for me, this part of my life, and talking about the things that we will do as an activist, because we are activists at a core, for me, it has transformed, of course, the way I approach to activism, because it's not only that now I think about the gazillion faces that I help that I don't know who they are, but I love to work for LGBTIQ issues, which is what I do. But now it has a face, which is my baby's face, because I want for her a better world, and I want for her to live in a world where their moms will be fine, and where she already was born in a very difficult situation, because we needed to flee from our country because of our activism as human rights defenders. So just not being able to be born in the country where we belong to, that's already something that my baby will carry forever as part of her own life. And for me, that's part of her activism. But one thing that we were discussing with Barbara since I don't know when, it's about what part of our lives will be political and what part of our lives will remain just as a normal couple who doesn't make any activists, just like, whatever things that we do. And that's a very, for me at least, and I'm speaking, of course, on my behalf, is very difficult sometimes, that dilemma that exists. Like, okay, I know that private things are political, but at some point I need to take a rest. I need to take a break. I can't be a activist 24/7. Like, sometimes I just want to sit back and watch TV with baby Isabela, read a book to her, and that's it. And I won't make a post on Instagram out of it. It's just life.
Yeah. I think that's very challenging, because whereas it's super important to draw a line and to always also take a step aside, not back, but aside of our work as activists to be just human beings. But there's a part of us that I think is on our DNA to have these activist glasses, that you keep looking at some things with with that view. For instance, we went to a new school to evaluate if that new school was feasible for our baby, if it was interesting for us, for her, the methodology of teaching and everything. And we were looking at the school. We were looking at the toys, the games, the colors, the staff. But of course, we came up with the forms to fill in to register her. And the forms were put the name of the dad and the name of the mom. And it was just a form that it's so easy to reevaluate. And we, of course, couldn't stay quiet. And we said, hey, here are two moms. What do you think if you just say parent one, parent two, or something more neutral? So some things are not easy to pass away because it's just our view of human rights that need to be there everywhere. But of course, I think we have be very conscious of our little family and to protect that and to choose the moments where activism will play a role, but also to know that sometimes we just need to be this amazing family and just rest and watch Cocomelon or something.
Yes. I mean, yeah, in general, is like you are always like someone told me once, I'm always on a fighting mode on. And sometimes I think that like as an activist, we are like that. Like, we are always looking for, okay, what's the next risk? What I need to fight for? Because that's what we have learned and that's what we do and that's what we love. But when you become a parent, you need to like try to chill, which is very difficult because of course you are taking care of a baby. So you want for her the best or for him the best in this case. And I just want to more or less share the last bit of this experience of being Marans, queer Marans, and how the intersectionality between these and being away of home and migrants, or in our case, we are refugees, how that is a hindrance for the development of you as a couple. I have mentioned, I don't know how many times, the isolation by now, but that's really, 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 really true. Just hearts there if you are experiencing the same. And then just trying to make a bigger picture of, okay, I am not really alone. Luckily, as I said, I work on LGBTI issues, so whenever I travel, I go to see and find and, I don't know, live and just enjoy the queer life that we all deserve. And that sort of recharged me when I come back to this very silent town where I live, and to know everyone is, I don't know, very white, very, very heteronormative, very heterosexual, very cis. And of course, that's a shock for me. And it's something that we need to cope every day, because we can't go back. But also, this is a place where my baby was born, and there's a place where we need to look forward to make our memories on. But I see you. I see the ones who are feeling alone because they are away from home for a given reason. Try to find each other, best way to cope with that. Go on social media. There are not that many things around queer families, depending on where you live, of course, but you can always reach out to it. So I just want to close my intervention here by saying that even though some of the things that I have been sharing with you guys sounds like, oh my God, that's terrible. Oh my God, poor human, that's very hard. Yes, it is. But the immense wonder and love that your baby will bring to your life, it doesn't have a comparison. It's the most wonderful thing to just come to her crib and look at her eyes, and she will say, "Hi, mommy, good morning. I'm ready to play." And it's like, you are tired as, but then you will immediately be recharged and you will want to go and hug her and play with her and be creative and revisiting your childhood as well, which is one of the parts that I'm most enjoying right now with her. So it's difficult, but as a parent, I can share that my experience is wonderful, and I am super happy. And I am super happy that I decided to give it a try with this amazing human being that I have as a wife. And thank you, Barbara, for giving me the gift of my baby.
Immense pleasure. Just to wrap it up, please don't forget about yourself as human beings. Don't forget yourself about as a couple or threesome or the people that you decide to embark on this adventure. If you are thinking about motherhood, parenthood, and it's incredible. I mean, I will do it all over again. It's amazing, and it's a challenge, but it's a beautiful one. It's the most amazing. So thank you so very much for Andrea trusting me for this incredible adventure, this journey, and to keep walking through the path every day and keep restructuring yourself, re-looking at yourself, and daring to become a better human being, to be able to share that life with that tiny, tiny human being that is coming to your life.
Yeah. Long live queer families. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.